Hey, so it's Ellen here. Thanks so much for your patience as I got this video out to you. I just want to say again, thank you so much for the project for me. I actually really love this song. Like, I jam to it on the radio all the time, so it's actually a lot of fun to learn, and I'm excited to help you learn it as well. So I have my guide here printed out, and I know you said you were specifically asking about like the hammer-ons and stuff, but I wanted to just kind of go over the whole guide just to be sure as well. So let's go ahead and first go over the basics. We've got our guitar with our capo on the 2nd fret if you want to play it in the same key that we hear like the original version on the radio and stuff. And then we've got quite a few chords. So I'm just going to quickly go over them just to make sure that you and I are on the same page as far as what the chord shapes look like. All right, so starting off, we have our 4-finger G. I like to use the 4-finger G because it's an easier transition to the D over F sharp because your ring and your pinky will stay the same. But if you feel more comfortable, another way that a lot of people play this D over F sharp is they just move their middle finger and then they take their thumb and wrap it around to get the low E string there. So I find it more comfortable to do it this way, especially from the transition from G. But if you want to do it with the thumb wraparound method, I think that can work for a lot of people as well. So experiment with that. And then we've got our E minor, our C. For G over B, this song, it always goes from C to G over B. So what I like to do is just take my middle finger, move it up 1 string, and then I'll put my pinky down. All right, so hopefully you can get used to that transition. Then we also have our A minor 7, our D suspended 4. I like to play mine like this because we always go from D sus 4 to our regular D, and all you have to do is take off your pinky. But some people I've seen like to play your D sus 4 like this, like with your middle finger. So if you like that instead of your index finger using your middle, you can do that too, but I just think it's an easier transition to do it this way, to go to your D. But that's up to you as well. We've got our E7, and then our first bar chord, which is our B flat. We also have our G7, our next bar chord, our C minor. And then this next chord, the D sharp, the way that most people play this is basically like your D chord regular is here, and you're kind of like scooting it up a fret, but because we want to cover that D string, what people will do is put their middle finger and then their pinky and then their ring. So they'll do the D chord like this. And then your first finger's left over, so you can use that to cover the 1st fret of the D string. So it's really important to cover that note with your 1st finger, because if you play it without it, it like creates a lot of dissonance. But actually what I like to do is I'll just do my regular D and then scoot it up a fret, and then I'm just really careful to not pick the 4th string, so I'll only do the bottom 3. So if you can be careful with your picking, then you don't have to do the really like, you know, stretchy version of the D sharp. You can just do a regular D up a fret. So that's what I like to do when I'm playing. And then again, we've got our D minor, our F major, and our last chord is our B7. Those are all fairly familiar, I think, to you. So again, the different like ways that you can fret these different chord shapes is totally up to you, whatever you feel most comfortable with. And then while we're still here in the more zoomed in lens, I wanted to go ahead and talk about the fingers that we want to use for the hammer-on. So for G, 4-finger G, it's going to be this index finger. All right. And remember, with all of these hammer-ons, you have to make sure your calluses are pretty thick so it doesn't like hurt. And again, with hammer-ons all the time, you want to be able to sound that hammer-on note without, you know, strumming anything on your right hand. So until your fingers are strong enough to do that, you probably won't be able to hear it as much with your strumming. So make sure to practice just that finger strength with all of these hammer-on notes, okay? So with our 4-finger G, we've got this one. All right, for our D over F sharp, you got your middle finger here. All right, these are they're pretty subtle. You have to listen for them pretty carefully. The E minor chord is the one that I think you'll hear the most easily. So if you want to practice your hammer-ons at all, I would definitely choose the E minor to practice with. So you start with all of your fingers off, and then you hammer both of them on. All right. For C, it's our index finger. For our G over B, it's your pinky here. A minor 7 is your index finger as well. For our D sus 4, it's your pinky again. All right. And then for your D chord, it's your middle finger. And then the last one that I wanted to suggest was the E7. Again, that's your index finger as well. So again, make sure you practice the actual like hammer-ons before you start to put it in the context of the strumming pattern, and just make sure you're comfortable with those first. But now we can go ahead and talk about the strumming. Okay, so I'm on page 2 now. Let's go ahead and break down some of the strumming rhythms without the hammer-on, just to make sure that those we're on the same page as well for those. So the main strumming rhythm for most of the song is that very top one on the second page. So we have 16th note count, 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and E, a 4 and a down, up, up, down, up, up, down, down, up. All right, pretty familiar. I've used it for a lot of other tutorials as well because it's really versatile. But the thing about this strumming rhythm is we have those hammer-on notes. So that's going to go on the beat 1 and the and of the 2. So we've got hammer on 1, E and, E, 4 and a. So remember earlier when we were practicing those hammer-ons, so for example, the G chord, that first finger, you want to do that on the first beat. So we have up, up, and then again, up, up, down, down, up. 1, E and, E, 4 and a. Remember the hammer-on itself is such a fast motion. Like you want to do it as soon as you strum the string, you want to add that hammer-on. So it's like, you kind of have to listen for it because it's really easy to miss. Okay, so don't let it be its own beat or anything. You want it to be exactly on the beats that are labeled. So again, we've got 1, E and, E, 4 and a. So I'm starting with my finger off, and then as you hammer it on, you leave it on, up, up, then take it off again for that and then hammer it on the and. So you're leaving it off to start with, you do the down strum with the hammer on, up with the finger still down, and then quickly lift it off and then hammer it back on for the next beat. All right, so. I'll see if I can zoom in on my left hand here. All right, and you want to do that for all of the different chords that we're going to do the hammer-on for, okay? So that's the basic strumming. I think if you're having trouble with hearing the hammer-on, something really helpful you can do is actually palm mute. I don't know if you're super comfortable with palm muting with your right strumming hand yet, but if you can do it, it really like makes the hammer-on note stand out a lot more. So if you can practice this with a palm mute, I think it'll help you hear those hammer-ons as well. So we've got. Let me zoom down a little so you can see my guitar. All right, so again, we've got down with the hammer on, up, up, down with the hammer on again, up, up, down, down, up. All right? And if you're just getting used to the hammer-ons in context of the strumming rhythm, just pick one first, like pick your favorite one, maybe E minor, because that one's kind of an easier one to hear. Just practice that one strumming rhythm with the hammer-on over and over again until you can kind of get used to that rhythm. Down, up, up, down, up, up, down, down, up. Okay? Like, don't try to overwhelm yourself by putting everything all together already. Just pick one chord and just focus on that hammer-on the right beat of the strumming rhythm until you start to kind of internalize it, and then you can put everything together and it'll like be a lot easier for you, okay? So that was the first strumming rhythm. The second strumming rhythm, I actually noticed as I was practicing through this that I wrote it down wrong, so I'll like redo the guide and send that to you and upload it on Patreon again. But basically what I have here, the actual rhythm that I play is I'll go down, up, down. Okay, so it's down, so it's 1, 2, E, and. So there's no here. And then same thing on the other side. 3, 4, E, and. So the rhythm here is 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. Okay, so I'll revamp the guitar guide for you so that that makes sense. But basically, this is where you want to split measures. So throughout the song, any of those chords that have that little dash next to it, that's going to be like a half measure. So that's where you want to use this second strumming rhythm. So again, we have 1, 2 E and 3, 4 E and. Okay, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down. So let's go ahead and take in context, like, please, 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 that little walk down in the chorus, we're going from C to G over B to A minor 7 to G. Those are all examples of the split measure. So you're going to do your first chord, which is our C, on the first half of that second strumming pattern. Down, up, down, to G over B. Down, up, down, to A minor 7. Down, up, down, to G. Down, up, down. So this rhythm, I think it's a little bit easier to hear when you hear all of it put together. So you can hear in context of the line. So with the hammer-ons for this second like split measure strumming, you're going to want to put the hammer-ons on the first beat and the third beat. And the reason for that is because those are the first beat of each chord change. So for example, that same line, please, 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 we've got C with our hammer-on, up, down, then G over B with our hammer-on, A minor 7 with a hammer-on, to G. In context of the second strumming pattern. And then again, same thing like with the first main strumming pattern. If you put a palm mute to this, it's a lot easier to hear those hammer-on notes. So we've got that's just my suggestion. If you can keep a palm mute going throughout the entire song, it'll really like make the hammer-ons and everything stand out more, which is kind of the purpose of even having those hammer-ons in, because they're totally optional. You don't have to play it with the hammer-ons at all, but if you do, it just kind of sounds a little bit closer to the original. So if you are going to try the hammer-ons with the strumming, I would really suggest trying to also have a palm mute going so that you can hear it more clearly. Okay, so I think that's gone through the whole guide. Hopefully the rhythm of the strumming and where to place those hammer-ons and how to do them makes a little bit more sense. So I thought now we could go through the entire song. I'll like play it through with you so you can kind of hear how it all comes together. Remember, this song actually moves pretty fast, so I think this is going to be one of those instances where when you practice this song slowly, it won't sound like the actual song because it's going to be going so slow, but it's important to practice it slowly so you can nail those hammer-ons, so you can make sure you have the rhythm correct, all of that stuff. Slowly, you're going to want to speed it up over time, then add the palm mute, and then you should be able to kind of hear how it mimics the original song the way that I intended it to sound in the guide, okay? So let's go ahead and play through the song. 1, 2, ready, go. It's funny and it's ironic that only I feel that way. I promise I'm not your feel throughout that. I didn't practice it way too much, but you can see like whenever you are starting to lose maybe some of that original strumming rhythm that I have written down, just remember for all songs, right? Like the strumming rhythms that I provide are just kind of a close estimate as to what I think the strumming is for the song. Please feel free to always just change it around, add extra strums if you need to, take some away. If you end up like coming up with your own rhythm, great, go for that, as long as you know you can play through it and it matches the beat of the original song. My suggestions are always just that, they're just suggestions. So as I was playing through it, I noticed I added a couple of strums throughout, you know, different parts of the song. Totally fine if you do that as well. One thing I did notice is I do think it sounds pretty good. You know how I said to palm mute through the whole thing? The one place I would take the palm mute out is at the end of the verses when she goes from D sus4 to D. Yeah, I know. That's where I would maybe let it ring out and then go back into the chorus and add that palm mute back in. I tell them it's just your culture and everyone rolls their eyes. Yeah, right here, let it ring out. Yeah, I know. Closing out that like section there, and then go into the chorus and then maybe put the palm mute back in. Please, please, please. All right, so maybe let it ring out at the ends of the verses when you're going into the choruses. But like I said, overall, if you want to put the palm mute throughout the song, it is going to kind of mimic, because I think the original song is more like electric guitar. So if you want to mimic that, I would definitely palm mute it, because like it'll help it stand out more. So that's why I would suggest keeping the palm mute in throughout. But yeah, that is the breakdown of how I would add the hammer-ons into both of those strumming patterns that I have on the guide. As always, if you have any more questions, you can always feel free to contact me through Patreon or my socials. I always know it's you. So if you have any other questions or need more clarity on anything, we can definitely message back and forth, and I can try to help you out if this video wasn't clear enough. But hopefully I did kind of break down how the hammer-ons go and where they go. Just remember, there's a lot of different opportunities to do hammer-ons in this song, so don't overwhelm yourself by trying to just straight play through it. I would really strongly recommend concentrating on one chord at a time and just really nailing each hammer-on one chord at a time. So really just start with the chord itself and like practice the hammer-on. All right, once you get the hammer-on, then put it in context with the strumming rhythm. Over and over and over again. And then once you have it for the G chord, go to the next chord and do the next one. So you want to do this stepwise in order to really make sure that you can nail it. So that's going to be the most important part, is just having the patience to go through each chord individually. But I really think that if you do that, then the whole song will come together a lot more easily for you, and you'll see how once you practice all of the individual aspects of this song, then putting it all together is going to be a lot easier and less overwhelming, okay? But yeah, again, reach out if you have any questions about this. I hope that this was helpful. Thanks again so much for the project, and yeah, I'll be waiting to see how everything goes. Bye.